Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Renatus InvestEdge. My name is Jay Stark. It is my pleasure, my honor, my privilege, my absolute joy to get to welcome you to our call today. I'm excited. We've been out for a little while. It doesn't feel like it's been that long since we've gotten to hang out as a Renatus family, but today is going to be an awesome opportunity. Not only are we going to talk about wonderful things happening around the community, but we have an offer for you that is limited time and limited in that only you guys are going to know about it. So welcome to the call. I'm just happy to be here. I was going to say it's my privilege again. I'm like, I've already said that once or twice. So anyway, point of the story is I now, if you have not yet had the opportunity, get to introduce to you the founder and CEO of Renatus. He's somebody that has been my absolute privilege to get to work for and with for the last 14 and a half years. I love this man, not just because he's an amazing visionary leader, but he is also somebody committed to empowering every single person around him. And I can say that because I've been around him for the last decade and a half, and I have felt my life absolutely transformed because of his influence and because of the love and the way that he builds his business and he leads the company. So if you've never had the opportunity, I'm super happy to introduce to you Mr. Bob Snyder.
Hey, Jay, so thankful to be here. That is fantastic. I love the way you get excited about things.
I am so excited to be here.
Exactly right. That's wonderful. And I'm excited to be here. We got a great call planned for you today as we dive deep into a few different subjects. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind everybody out there that we are in the land of YouTube. That's right. Social media at its finest. And if you want to be apprised as to what's going on in the wonderful world of real estate, I would advise you to subscribe to this channel. I mean, go in and hit the notification bell so that way that every single time we've got a new episode, you're notified. And, like us, love us, any of those wonderful things. And, of course, subscribe so that we can keep you informed as to all things real estate investing.
So would you recommend that everybody watching give us a thumbs up?
I think they should give us a thumbs up. Yes.
I think that everybody watching should give us a thumbs up right now on the YouTube.
Yeah, on the YouTube.
On the YouTube.
Do you say the Facebook, too? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, the YouTube, the Facebook. Is it the Twitter?
No, it's the X.
The X. Oh, well, you've really come a long ways.
I've evolved.
Yes, that's right. You have. That's fantastic. Oh, that'll be great. Hey, and just something to start off with every single week. We want to remind you what Renatus is all about. I'm going to just share with you our mission statement, which is our mission is to create a new generation of real estate investors equipped with principle-centered financial education that empowers them to reduce debt faster, cut taxes legally, negotiate smarter, and invest wiser through educational strategies designed to pay for themselves. That's right. That's right. Today, we've got an opportunity to do a fantastic E3 highlights and recap. Talk a little bit about action steps and what's going on out there in the wonderful world of real estate and what our E3 Summit was all about. Now, Jay, I know that you've got some great information on E3. It just happened last week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Man, we unpacked so much, so many trainings, so much information, had so many incredible dynamic speakers. It was absolutely mind-blowing, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as we kind of get into things today. Like, for instance, here's a couple of amazing speakers and trainers that we enjoyed this last week. Mr. Woody Woodward's over on the left-hand side there. What do you have to say about Woody?
Woody was a trooper.
Mm-hmm.
The week before, Woody started coming down with an illness, and I laughed, and I feel a little bad, but I mean only a little bad, because Woody got croup, which is typically an illness reserved for small children, which is, it just made me laugh that Woody got croup. But Woody got sick before the E3, and so we had to shift the schedule around just a little bit because he had completely lost his voice and could not present. And yet he was able to come out on Friday. He presented, and how would you rate his presentation?
Oh man, it was a 10 out of 10. I told Woody when he came on stage that this was it was an MJ moment. Those of you who remember Michael Jordan from the good old days, the Utah Jazz and Chicago found themselves in the finals a couple of years in a row. And I'll never forget, Michael Jordan came to Utah to the Delta Center, and he was deathly ill. Temperature of 104 degrees, sick as a dog, didn't hardly sleep the night before. And he went out there, and every single shot he attempted, he made. He slayed it. over and over and over again. Sick as a dog, he just crushed it, and he crushed the hopes and dreams of all of us jazz fans in the process. Right?
Yes, he did.
And I've never forgotten that display of just sheer goat, greatest of all time, right?
Yeah.
And Woody did that. I told him after he got done, I said, I'm going to start referring to you as the MJ of Renatus and what goes on here. He was so sick that here's the lesson in this, is that it gave him an opportunity to just kind of slow things down. His voice deepened a little bit.
Yes,
he was
it did.
more methodical and deliberate in what he had to say. Gravitas, yes. And as a result, it was the best speech I think I've ever seen him give. And I've seen him give some barn burners, some absolutely incredible things. What he tried to do is help people create almost a neural pathway connection between Renatus and real estate between Drive, the Drive system, and Renatus and the real estate investing opportunities that we've got, so that folks could see how one complements the other. And in the process, he empowered and educated individuals on Drive, which Drive is an incredible system. It's all based on the feeling of importance. It helps to identify the feeling of importance for each individual. And then it drops them into different Drive types: director, relator, intellectual, validator, executive. So Woody went through that entire program helping people understand how they could use Drive in their real estate investing, and he crushed it.
It was awesome to see people who had never heard Woody before, because I pulled the audience before Woody came up, and we had a number of people that had never listened to Woody before, and they were just absolutely enthralled as he walked through Drive. And like you said, he had slowed down just a little bit, and because of that, it added enough emphasis and enough time for people to absorb really what he was saying in the application for it, that they were just... Man, he had them, I don't want to say eating out of the palm of his hand, but he had them absolutely going along with him for the ride.
He did. And Drive is such a powerful system because it really helps to identify the buying language or communication language that an individual would most like to be spoken to. And when you do that, you're connecting with them on a deeper level. You're able to build rapport so much quicker. And as a real estate investor, all of those things point to more closed deals done.
Yeah.
They really do. And then, I mean, Woody not only did a fantastic job, but Jen Drummond.
Oh man, Jen was an absolute find. She came to us through a connection through Maylee Nelson.
Yes, she did.
And at first we had first met Jen a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And when we talked with her, we thought, oh, she has a story, so powerful. But what she came out and did on stage was absolutely above and beyond what I had even imagined she'd be able to do.
Yeah.
You know, so she's a Guinness World Book record holder. I don't know if I said that in the correct order. Guinness World Record book. She has a world record for being the first woman to summit all of the second summits, which are the second highest summits on all 7 continents. But apparently there is some disparity about what a continent is and what the second highest mountain are. So she actually climbed 9 mountains to get this world record.
Yeah.
But man, when she shared her story about Everest, that was intense.
That was powerful. And here's the reason why she climbed Everest, which is one of the tallest.
Right.
The tallest on that continent. It's because before they will allow you to actually climb K2, which is a much more difficult, much more dangerous climb, you have to summit Everest just to prove that you can actually do it before they'll even let you on K2, because it's that much more difficult. Hitting and being able to climb the second highest summits is a much more difficult task than it is to climb all of the highest. Yeah. And so in preparation for all of these climbs, she had to do Everest. And Everest was a remarkable journey because she talked about how they went to base camp and then they had to, prepare there for a few days to acclimate to the altitude and the weather and so forth. And then they went up to the next camp, but then they go to the next camp, which is at a higher elevation, and then they've got to come back down. And then they've got to spend a few days there because that's how you acclimate for those higher altitudes. Yeah. And then she said you had to go, the next time they climbed, they had to go to the next base camp, but then on to the next base camp, spend a little bit of time there, and then come all the way back down to acclimate. She went up and down this ladder on Everest. I mean, these are massive climbs.
5 times.
Right, 5 times.
Before she could actually summit To the very top.
Because if you try to do it all in one day, well, then you die.
Yeah.
Right? So the preparation for Everest is incredible. But even when you get to base camp and you start the process there, I had no idea that it was such a laborious, difficult, and dangerous task just to prepare to finally make the climb
To the top.
to summit.
I love the comparison that she made where she talked about how in business so many times you feel like you're going backwards as you're trying to make progress. You feel like you go back to base camp, when in reality what you're doing is you're climatizing to the thinness of the air, to the altitude that you're now reaching. Because you're getting to a new height, you have to come back down so that you don't end up harming yourself in the process.
Yeah, exactly. It's a remarkable story because it's so applicable to business for each and every one of us. We've all, thought we climbed the highest peak, the highest mountain, just to find out that we were knocked back down to what we considered to be the foundational level again, and then we've got to march back forward again. Whatever you've done once, you can do the second time easier and faster. Whatever you've done twice, you can do the third time easier and faster. Whatever you've done three times, you get the pattern of recognition that we're talking about here. And that was a powerful story that she shared. And I also love the fact that when they got to the big bowl that is a part of the hike up to Everest, she said the reflection off of the snow is so intense in this specific glacier that it gets hot. And a lot of times that's when you'll see these individuals climbing Everest and they've just got their shorts on. They've taken their shirts and their pants and all their gear and everything off, and they are climbing through this one big bowl up there. But she says the problem is, as long as the sun's out, it can hit temperatures of 60 degrees, and when you're hiking and exerting yourself, you get hot, you get sweaty. But the minute cloud cover comes in, it'll change to 80 degrees below zero, just like that, because of the altitude.
Yeah.
So the preparations that were made there were, again, you've got to be willing to pivot and change and make modifications in an instant, depending on the conditions around you, which is another great metaphor for business.
Yeah, truly. And I love the way that she talked about how as a team, they would actually take turns going to the front of the pack and then leading the pack in songs or in telling jokes or stories or whatever. That mental ability to distract yourself with the positive while you're doing the difficult played such a pivotal role in her being able to not just ascend to the top, but get there in a way that made the journey enjoyable. Yeah. And one of the most profound parts is that after all of this work, and I mean, it took her a year to prepare to climb Everest, and then all of the time going back and forth. I think it was, I can't even remember, I believe it was like 40 days that she was at base camp or ascending to the top of Everest. That's how long it took her just to get to the top. But after all of that preparation, she gets to the very summit, the very top of Everest, and she came down after 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
She was only there for 10 minutes.
Yeah, because they said, if we don't leave now, you could die. 10 minutes. She's like, are you kidding me? After everything that we've done, I want to stay here for days.
Yeah.
At least a few hours, but 10 minutes was the time clock. Because unfortunately on Everest, by 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Everest creates its own weather. And when the weather comes in, you do not want to be on that mountain.
Yeah. Such an amazing conversation and so inspirational. And when you talk with her, you may not actually think this is the kind of person that would have the fortitude to make that kind of climb, because she's just so personable and so willing to interact. But man, she did such an amazing job.
Oh, big time.
My daughters were in the audience listening to her, and they're like, I think I want to climb a mountain now. And I'm like, no. That's not the takeaway here. Awesome, though.
That was fantastic. Well, you know what? Speaking of your daughters, which is a direct correlation and connection to their mother.
Yes.
One of our favorite instructors, Whitney Stark.
My very favorite instructor.
Whitney Stark did an absolutely outstanding job. What were your favorite moments, Jay?
Whitney, she's got this uncanny ability to create a conversation around real estate investing that does not intimidate people who don't know how to invest. Mm-hmm. Where I love the way that she tells the story about one of the very first investments that we invested in, where basically she had put it out to everybody in our network. We're investing in real estate. We're getting started. And we had a friend come to us who was a developer. He built a lot of homes, and he said, I'm trying to sell this house, but the people who want to buy it need to sell their home, but they don't want to actually go through the process of selling their home. And so would you be willing to take a look? So Whitney goes out there, she takes a look, she puts together all of the numbers, submits the offer. And after she submitted the offer, she said, oh no, I just submitted this offer. I don't know what I'm going to do. They turned around and they said, okay, we'll take it. And she was like, now what? And that's when she had to get really creative, and that's when she found a real love for understanding how private and hard money works and figuring out the interplay there. But it's her relatability, her down-to-earth way that she approaches every single problem, because our family motto is Stark, we can do hard things. And my wife just epitomizes that by not being afraid of a challenge and not being overwhelmed by what she doesn't know, but able and willing to say, I can learn.
Yeah. Well, and knowing Whitney too, I mean, I'm sure she was inspired by Jen Drummond's story. And knowing Whitney, she doesn't want to miss out on anything of value in life.
Don't put that out there. Just don't put that out there, please, man.
It's not going to be that long before all of a sudden, my friend, she comes to you with a proposal.
Oh no.
That you're going to be basically bacheloring it for an extended period of time while she heads off to climb great mountains.
I you know what? If that's her dream, I'll support her in that. And until then, I will not encourage that at all. But she did a phenomenal job, and I love this because on the slide here we've got a couple other pictures. That top picture right there was Thursday night, wasn't it?
It was Thursday night. That was the investor panel right there.
Yeah. So we had 7 of our practitioner instructors sitting on the stage fielding questions from individuals in the audience about all things real estate, and that was a transformative moment.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, so good to listen to all of the perspectives. But my favorite part is you've got these individuals on the stage, and between them they share probably hundreds of years of experience investing in real estate. And as the conversation got going, they started turning to each other and they were like, well, no, tell me more about that.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell me more about. So even as these practitioner instructors, these guys that have been doing it for years, they're still taking the opportunity to learn from one another.
Yeah, it was a great night. It really was. And the reason why we love to highlight these is because they're examples of how valuable it is to really lean into a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, especially when it comes to real estate investing. When our instructors get together and mastermind and come up with even better ideas and better strategies and utilize each other's tips and tricks, then think about how much more valuable it is for our community to come together to be able to do the same thing. That's the beauty of what we offer in Renatus, is access to practitioner instructors and to a community of investors that's actually out there applying what they've learned.
Another cool part about that panel was that of the 7 instructors that were on the stage, 3 of them, 4 of them learned how to do what they do through the education.
Yeah, they did.
So they started as students in the crowd like everybody else at the E3, and then became so proficient at their practice, at their trade, that they then became practitioner instructors. And that to me is so inspirational, because it's not only proof that the education works, but it also gives a relatability for every single person sitting in that audience going, I've never done this before, but that guy had never done it before either, and look at where he's at now.
You know what I love about that? Listen, as an investor, many times what we need is someone to take away our excuses.
Yeah.
Because excuses are useless, and many times they lead to justification, and justification leads to inaction. And what we want to do inside of the Renatus community is we want to surround you with examples of success so that you don't have any excuses, therefore no justification, therefore no inaction. Instead, you're empowered by folks who are out there doing it, making it happen, and you want to be able to make it happen with them. So that's the beauty of it. And the panel was fantastic. So many great insights as to what's going on in the real estate market today.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, what were some of your takeaways?
My takeaways was that one of them was that real estate still works today. Mm-hmm. There are so many people that I've heard saying that, real estate is unattainable, it's unmanageable, you can't make money in real estate today. And when I think about that rationally, I go, I've been hearing that the entire time I've invested in real estate. But it's gone up so much, kids can't even afford a house these days.
Right.
And it's like, they really can. They just have to get educated. Yes, real estate has evolved over time. Yes, the what worked 10 years ago may not be working the same way today. Mm-hmm. but staying educated, staying on top of the trends. And I mean, honestly, listening to Umair, when he walked through his strategy, he brought affordable housing to the forefront. This is exactly how you can make these houses affordable. This is how you can get these houses to qualify as real property. It was, man, his stuff was incredible. I forgot. He was early on Thursday.
He was early on Thursday, and he did an excellent job. This is the reason why the E3 Summit is so impactful, is because you get the collective wisdom of so many that are out there making it happen day to day. And you get to glean from that. And Umair's whole concept of taking his mobile home parks to a whole different level, or being able to go into areas that don't allow for mobile home parks, but still utilize the affordability of a mobile home, take off the axles, take off the wheels, go down and change the titling and everything out, and then make it and put it on a permanent foundation so that it's real property. That's a game changer for a lot of markets across the country where they are just struggling to find affordable housing.
Yeah, I loved when he talked about that, and some of the questions that came out of the audience were really interesting. And when people were starting to fathom, they're starting to really wrap their head around the idea of how do I take a mobile home and create real property? Because for any of you who don't know, when you buy a mobile home, you don't go down to a title office and buy a mobile home. You go to the DMV. The thing is a vehicle, right? And so you go to the DMV so that you can get the title. But it's if you take the axles off of it, if you put it onto a solid slab foundation, all of a sudden it goes from mobile home to real property. And when you do that, it increases the value, it increases the sellability of it. I mean, there's just so many cool things. And Umair is sitting there talking about how he's done this over and over. And then he offered, well, I won't even get into that whole thing.
Yeah. No, it was just a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
So, another individual we've got on the screen right here is Jeff Armstrong.
Twitter. I got to say it just one time for everybody.
Twitter.
Yep.
He's got a fantastic acronym that he uses quite frequently, and the whole crowd gets into it as well. Twitter stands for "That's what I'm talking about." Every time he discloses another strategy when it comes to seller finance notes, this is a strategy whereby you become the bank, right? He shared so many insights into how to do seller finance notes so that you could become the bank, so that you could realize a higher rate of return without any of sometimes people would perceive to be the downside of owning and growing a real estate portfolio.
Yeah.
I love having Jeff there because he's an inspiration, and he's been with us for, 15 years.
Yeah, he's been with us the entire time Renatus has been around.
And he's been doing seller finance notes for, I think, about 25 years now? Around that?
Yep,
right around thousands of them. There's a great resource, fantastic educator. But these are the kinds of individuals that were gracing the stage on the regular, all day, every day for 3 days at the E3 Summit.
Man, so amazing. I have one comment here that I want to read. Creative Homebuyer says, E3 was an incredible event, lots of nuggets. Jen's story and experience shared had me on the edge of my seat. The speakers each provided so much content. Loved the shared stories from members.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. See, there's a lot of folks who go, so what does a mountain climber got to do with real estate investing?
That sounds like the setup for a joke.
I'm not going to make a joke, but I am going to make a point, and that is that in business, what we've got to do is we've got to commit ourselves to the process, and it's those individuals that commit themselves to the process, follow through with the process, that actually summit and achieve the success that they're looking for.
Yeah.
And Jen's story just was a demonstration of that principle. I'm always disappointed in the outcomes that some individuals have, because rather than commit themselves to the process, they dip their toe in the water and then they go, ooh, I don't know, it's kind of cold, maybe not today. And then they sit on the sidelines and watch everybody else having success. And we don't like to see that in Renatus community. We want folks to be fully immersed and engaged so that they can realize the success that they're looking for.
One of the things, so I had the opportunity to present for a few minutes, and one of the things that I learned in preparation was the root of the word decision is similar to the root of the word incision. So incision means to cut into, decision means to cut off.
Right.
And so when we make a decision, it's not just, should I take path A or path B? It's cutting off path B altogether so that there is only path A.
Exactly.
That is making a decision. So somebody who makes a choice but doesn't make the decision, that's the person who goes, it's cold, I'm going to go back.
Right.
But if somebody makes the decision, man, they burn the boats and they go full tilt.
Yeah, they've cut off any other possibility. They're
That's right.
only moving forward. There's no retreat. That's a great example. Hey, yeah. Garrett Gunderson. Wow. Up on the slide, we've got Garrett. Garrett Gunderson has been a good friend of mine for, well, probably about 12, 13 years now. And it was introduced to me by Woody Woodward.
Yep.
I'll never forget that. It was through Woody's NOS event.
Networking on steroids.
Networking on steroids. And Garrett and I found ourselves there and really just became good friends. He is one of the most prolific, exciting, enthusiastic speakers I've ever seen on stage. Yeah. And he speaks truth about business, finance, and really the psychology of money and what propels people versus what holds them back. And there are limiting beliefs that really do restrict an individual from moving forward to success. So many times, folks kind of have implanted from their upbringing a financial thermostat. And that financial thermostat limits their ability to earn income because they just keep bumping up against it and they think, ooh, yeah, I don't think I can achieve more than this. Garrett just has a great way about helping them to break through and to smash all the barriers of psychology and limiting beliefs so that they know that they can go forward.
Yeah, I love the way that Garrett not only gave unreservedly, but had everybody taking copious notes.
Yes.
He gave formulas and equations. He gave different thoughts and ideas. He was able to turn simple things that you've heard over and over on their head and say, this is why this is a false truth. Mm-hmm. And then he talked about, we haven't even talked about the networking lunches yet.
No, we haven't talked about the networking lunches yet.
We didn't talk. We can talk about that. But Garrett did such a tremendous job while he was on stage, especially to the point where every single person was just rapt. Their attention was absolutely focused on every last word he was saying. Not because he had anything to gain out of it, but because he was giving truth after truth after truth.
Yeah. Well, and he's a New York Times bestseller multiple times over for the different works that he did. You know what was funny is Garrett was talking about his book, his most famous and most popular book, which is What Would the Rockefellers Do?
Yep.
And how that just grabbed hold. He said out of all the books he's written, he said he would have never picked that one to be the top one. But individuals are always curious about what some of the ultra wealthy do, what choices they've made, what decisions they've made that have led them to that. And I think that's the reason why that book gained such great popularity.
Yeah.
But as a writer, as a speaker, as a trainer, Garrett is the man.
Yeah.
And it just continues to show you the kind of value that we offered at the E3 Summit.
Yeah.
And what's available there. You've already talked about Umair Haq just a little bit there, but now we've kind of got him on the slide. And Umair is an absolute rock star, homegrown individual who started out in our community. He was an MMA fighter, professional. And, he finally, after a while, said he got kind of tired of getting punched in the head. He didn't have a problem with punching other people.
No, that wasn't the issue.
No, it was when he got punched, when he got kicked. He says, there's only so much that you can take for so long.
Yeah.
And then he decided, there's got to be a better way to make a living. So he found us, and from that day to this day, not only has learned how to invest in real estate, but now is so efficient and successful at it that he's an instructor teaching our mobile home parks class and talking about some of these strategies we just alluded to in just a little bit ago. And then you got Jason Andrus.
Jason.
Yeah. What are your impressions on Jason at the event?
So Jason has been announced as our new fix and flip instructor.
Yes, he has.
And he previewed some of the information that he's going to cover. And while a lot of his information was introductory, it gave people the belief right out of the gate going, oh, I can actually do this. And that's what practitioner instructors excel at. They may not be the world's best speakers, but they are individuals that can give a nuts and bolts perspective on every single strategy. And that's exactly what Jason did. He came in and said, hey, here are the things that you need to look at when you are determining whether or not a fix and flip is going to be a valid option for you. He talked a little bit about money. He talked about market. He talked about all of these fun things. But my favorite part about Jason is the energy that he brings to the stage.
Well, there's a reason why they call him Mr. Excitement. Yeah, there is. There's a reason. His enthusiasm is absolutely contagious. It just overflows. It transfers to individuals throughout the entire room because he's so pumped up, fired up, and excited about real estate and the opportunities that are available for folks today, not in the future and not left in the past.
Yeah.
Old Chinese proverb is this, that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, right? Yeah. The second best time is today. The same is true of real estate investing. The best time to buy a property was 20 years ago. The second best time is today, because the numbers are all indicative of the fact that real estate will continue to rise in value and that opportunities will continue to blossom because of the demand for real estate and the housing shortage we're still dealing with.
Yeah, and I think we heard that probably 15 times over the course of the 3 days. Every instructor was saying it in a little bit of a different way, but they were saying the same thing, which is that real estate is a valid strategy today. And Bob, I love the way that you stacked real estate against every other major investment strategy out there, at least all the ones that I'm aware of.
Well,
and when you walked through that, I was just like, oh my gosh, how can people not see this?
Well, I did, and I've done that on the InvestEdge before too, where I've taken that graph I've created, and PowerPoint slide, I guess, is more what it is, and just showed individuals how real estate stacks up against gold, silver, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and cryptocurrency, and the like, and went through line item by line item as to all the benefits that real estate has. And by the time you get to the bottom there, I mean, real estate checks every single box, whereas the other investment strategies check only a few.
Yeah, I think the best part is that everybody in the audience not only understood the power of real estate, but they had the belief in themselves being able to do real estate today after every single conversation. And, you know, we didn't really put very many pictures up there, but we had Patrick Munson who came out Friday morning.
Patrick was fantastic.
Never seen Patrick better.
Yeah.
He did such a phenomenal job of talking about cost segregation and talking about the power of this strategy that so few people actually know about.
Right. And cost segregation, just so that you know, is a powerful tool that as a real estate investor we have in our quiver. It's another arrow we have in our quiver that we can bring out to lower what is otherwise your largest expense in life. That's taxes. So with any kind of a property, if you've got a residential property, then you can write that property off, depreciate it over a 27.5-year period of time. If it's a commercial property, then you're going to depreciate it over, I think it's 37 years.
Yeah.
And as such, that means that you can only take an equal amount of the building, not the land, but the building, and depreciate that. But through cost segregation, you can go in and say, well, you know what? That roof is not going to last 27.5 years. The carpet is not going to last 27.5 years. I mean, there may be need for renovation along the way, and what's the probability that there's going to be renovation? We might actually knock out walls, replace sheetrock, paint, electrical, light fixtures, plumbing fixtures, all that stuff is going to need to be replaced.
Yep.
So a good cost seg analysis allows you to go in and now take all of those chattels or different aspects of a home or a business or a commercial property and accelerate depreciation. And because you can accelerate depreciation and take 27.5 or 37 years and compress it down into just a handful of years, that maximizes the deduction that you have and puts more hard-earned dollars back in your pocket because they're not going off to the government.
Yeah, such a great strategy. And when he polled the audience, there's only about a third of the audience that I believe had even ever heard of cost segregation, let alone fully understood it. And so it was revelatory. But then, of course, he was absolutely epic by ending with a rap.
He did. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Most individuals in finance have had a personality bypass. Not Patrick. No. He structured a rap, got a beatboxer on stage, and sat there and entertained us as he exited off.
That was awesome. Yeah. So great. You know, we also had Brian Sump on stage talking about, you know, this is an individual who went from diesel mechanic and has now been investing full-time, absolutely debt-free from my understanding for 20 years now.
Yeah, about that,
And has still, to date, not lost $1 in any real estate transaction ever.
Yeah, I don't know that we've got any other instructors that can say that. I can't say that.
You know, Jeff actually raised his hand.
Oh, Jeff did?
Yeah, I asked, and he did raise his hand. And it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
So we've got a couple then that have never lost any money on a real estate deal that they've done.
Yeah.
I've only lost money on one. And that was not a good decision for me to get into to begin with, which is a lesson. You always fall in love with the numbers. You never fall in love with the deal, because the property, I should say. You fall in love with the numbers or the deal, and not with the property. The problem that so many individuals run into is they go, oh, this is such a cute little house, and it'll attract a cute little family, and it'll be a great rental, or maybe it'll be a great turn on a fix and flip. If the numbers don't pencil, you don't do the deal. One of my early on mentors taught me this. He said, Bob, the deal of the decade comes along about once a week when you know what to look for.
Yeah.
And that's what you strive for, is making sure that you don't make bad decisions up front, because a bad decision up front really complicates and challenges your opportunity to make a profit going forward when you want to exit out of that property. You got to buy them right so that eventually you can sell them right, or turn them into cash flowing properties over time to receive all the benefits of the rental income. So numbers, and if the numbers don't pencil, you don't do the deal.
You know, that is truly a newbie mistake that we all make once, where we get into a property and we fix the property up according to what we want.
That's right.
Not really what the market
demands. As if we're going to live there.
Right? Yeah, we forget to treat our business like a business. We treat it like a hobby, and then we get paid like a hobby, which is not very much.
Yep, exactly.
So Brian did a fantastic job. Eric Counts came out and talked about trust.
You know, Eric did a fantastic job really speaking to that. Now, you've recently read a book, and then you recommended it to me, called The Speed of Trust, which I absolutely loved. Trust in business is critically important, because without it, well, you're not going to do business with an individual.
Right.
Even though Speed of Trust really drilled down on so many aspects of trust, I've been watching some documentaries and some things lately that really helped me to understand what that means in the world economy as well. For instance, when I say, hey, how would you like to buy some property in Syria? What would be, yeah, that's your response. That's your response.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm not looking to invest in Syria right now.
Well, what if there was a great opportunity for you to buy some property in Somalia?
Pirates.
Yeah. But if I said, listen, there's an opportunity to capitalize on some huge swings and shifts in the real estate market in Singapore,
I'd be open to that.
Singapore has become one of the most trusted countries on the planet. That has not always been the case, because Singapore in the early days was a haven for pirates and manipulation and government corruption. And then they had a new government come in, they kicked out all the crooks, and then they adopted new policies in their own constitution. And one of those is a zero tolerance policy for dishonesty. Zero tolerance.
Wow.
And from that point forward, they have become one of the economic powerhouses of the world, but especially over in the Eastern countries, in China and Asia and those areas of the world. Singapore is remarkable for what they've been able to accomplish. And it's because they established themselves in trust. The United States of America is still one of the most trusted countries and trusted economies on the planet. That should also tell you something. We've got a lot of foreign investment into real estate in the United States. That helps to bolster our real estate business and create a floor that is manageable, so that we have assurance that if we invest here, that there's some upside opportunity.
Yeah. So interesting that trust has such a macro effect. You think about trust interpersonally quite a bit. You don't think about trust on the political level, on the geopolitical level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't put my money in certain banks internationally because, well, I don't trust their governments. I don't trust their banking system.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy real estate in a lot of different countries because I don't trust their governments and I don't trust their financial system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to put our money where we know that we're going to have protection.
Yeah. And Eric really brought that back to understanding that is what credit is basically a number to demonstrate our trustworthiness to pay back any money that we owe. And so that was really an interesting perspective. But talking about interesting perspectives, Dan Cragen came out and did a deep dive on bankruptcy that really helped me to understand that bankruptcy, while it's something that I want to avoid with everything that I can, I can understand why it has a place for people who absolutely need it.
Yeah. Yeah, because bankruptcy is a tough one because I truly believe that what we need to do is we need to focus very intently on making sure that we honor our commitments and pay our bills. But in business, sometimes things come along that are just totally and completely unforeseeable.
Yep.
And because they're unforeseeable, in years past, if you didn't repay a debt, well, then you went to debtor's prison, or you were sold into
slavery,
slavery,
indentured
servitude,
yep.
As well as other challenges that kind of came along. So it negated any opportunity that a lot of people saw in going into business for themselves or borrowing money, because they're thinking, well, I'd love to start a business, but I need to borrow some money. But if I fail in that business, I'm going to find myself in prison or executed or
right.
Turned into a slave. Those were some pretty miserable conditions. What I didn't realize until Dan shared this is that bankruptcy is actually written into the U.S. Constitution. And our forefathers were wise enough to say, things happen. And if they happen, there is bankruptcy protection for those individuals that it happens to, so that they don't have to worry about going to jail, finding a hangman's noose, or becoming a slave or an indentured servant for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why capitalism has boomed in the United States, is because bankruptcy protection. So I had a complete reassociation about the whole concept.
Yeah.
Because up to that point, I viewed it negatively.
Yeah. Yep, and it's so interesting when you realize that bankruptcy is the pressure valve that allows people to try.
Yeah.
They can try because they know that they're not going to get hung at the end of the day if they fail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Just so interesting. But so moving on, Friday night,
yeah.
we had an opportunity for you to go around and interview individuals and have them tell their story. Now, the pictures you see, this is actually our Saturday night. Sorry,
that's
but
our Saturday night.
On Friday night, I got an opportunity to hear stories from individuals I had never heard before.
The opportunity that I had to grab the microphone and just walk it around the room and talk to individuals inside the Renatus community was unbelievable. I wish we could just package that whole thing up and bottle it and sell it, because it was an inspiration, and it took away so many excuses.
Oh man.
When Janine Best got up and started talking about after her husband left her, she had 10 children. And after her husband left her, she was penniless, homeless, completely starting over, trying to go back to school to get a degree so she could, support herself. It was unbelievable. She lived in a storage shed.
Oh man. Not that we would ever encourage that ever.
Right.
However, when Bob says she was destitute, she's living in a storage locker with a coffee can as a toilet.
Right, because it only cost her $100 a month.
Boy.
While she was going to school to be able to get her master's and her teaching certificate.
Yeah. And talk about a story that not only inspires but also takes away everybody's excuse, right? Oh, well, I'm having a hard day. I'm having a bad time. Well, you are not living in a storage unit.
Right.
You are not using a coffee can for a toilet. And Janine absolutely inspired everybody, not to mention she was also hilarious.
Yeah, she was pretty funny.
Super funny, but super relatable, and just so easygoing about the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Well, and the latter part of her story was this, is that in spite of all the difficulties, when she finally got her teaching certificate, felt like she had a huge breakthrough. I think she got hired by the Granite School District. She was one of 100 or 200 applicants. It was a lot. She got the job, but the job only paid like $14.50 an hour.
Yeah.
Part-time. It was not a full-time gig. She couldn't live off that either. And then she found us.
Yeah.
And since then, her life has transformed. She's done, I think it was over 80 deals. But she talked about the more important play, and that is that her 10 children also understand what she's done, why real estate is of value, and why they need to be investing as well. So it's been a legacy play to impact her entire family.
Yeah, such a great story, but she was just one of many. Bob walked around the room. We heard from individuals that had come down from Alaska. We heard from individuals that were from Idaho, from California, and just all over the country, and they were talking about why they were there.
Yes.
And what sacrifice they had made to be there and why it was important to them. And so many times I just felt myself being inspired and lifted by those stories.
I know I was.
Yeah.
I was. And then, of course, that carried over. Listen, we had an incredible time on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, educating and equipping individuals. But Saturday was all about, well, getting them so that they would engage and take action. Because if you don't act on the information, the education that you've acquired, then you just become an educated derelict. And there's plenty of those out there. They know a lot, but they're not doing a lot. Action is what really creates all of the benefits.
Yeah.
So those folks who decided, hey, I love what Renatus is all about. I love the community, and I want to be a part of this. We made them a special opportunity to join us. And those who decided to join us, we invited over to my house for a special little CEO mastermind on Saturday night. Saturday night. So this is my home. And wow, what an amazing experience that was.
That was so much fun. I was surprised that the time seemed to fly by so quickly while we were there. But the stories were inspiring. The messages that were shared just absolutely created new levels of belief and understanding. But really getting to network with individuals. So we had so many of the instructors that had been with us were up at Bob's place. The PAC members were all up there. Bob and Woody, Troy Dunn was up there. We had just so many individuals, and we got to network. We got to talk. We got to just hear each other's stories and laugh with each other and build on that foundation that we had created. But it's so interesting to me how as people get to spend that time interpersonally, one-on-one or one into a small group, all of a sudden their belief of this is real goes through the roof.
Yeah, it does.
Because all of a sudden they're like, not only is it real, but Bob is real. Woody is real. Renatus is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then when they've hung out in my home, that kind of makes it even realer.
Right? Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. Why have we spent so much time really recapping the E3? And we've just scratched the surface in terms of the number of instructors, the incredible breakthroughs, the unbelievable testimonials that were given as a result of that 3 days experience. It's because, well, while this was, of course, the fall E3 Summit, we're going to do it again.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I'm not going to say the dates or anything, but
All
I am
right.
going to let you know that there is another E3 planned. We got together with many of our leaders and our community members, and they were just clamoring for the opportunity. They said, Bob, you got to do this again. So we've decided we're going to do it again.
Love it.
We're going to do it again. It was so impactful. And not only just for the Renatus community, but there was a lot of folks who were just checking us out for the first time, guests that came and said, hey, I like what you guys are all about, and I want to be a part of this movement as well. So that was pretty exciting.
So it was so cool. It was so cool to get the Hug Fest on once again, to get to see people from across the country and to see that belief kindled in so many individuals.
It was.
Yeah, that part was just so much fun for me.
So there'll be more details to follow in the upcoming weeks about this next E3 Summit, but I'm here to tell you, you do not want to miss it. All we did was gave you just a little taste, a little sliver of what the E3 was all about and the tremendous breakthroughs that so many of the attendees had.
Yeah.
You do not want to miss this event. Again, it was epic. It was life-changing for so many individuals that were there, and we don't want you to miss it. So stay tuned for more details and information. When we get a date established, then we'll get out here and start sharing that with individuals. But there's a lot of folks that were at the E3 Summit who said, listen, there were so many incredible talks, so much amazing information that was shared. Is there a way that we can get access to that?
They wanted to see the recording.
Yes, they did. They wanted to see the recording.
They saw the cameras at the back of the room. They knew we were recording it, and we absolutely did record it.
Yes, we did. And as a result, we've packaged it up for sale. On your screen right now is how you can order the videotapes and everything for the videotapes. Man, I am just dated, aren't I? It just takes me back.
That caught me off guard.
Holy smokes.
The 8 tracks will be in your mailbox soon.
Well, at least I didn't say 8mm film or something like that, right? Yeah.
Oh man.
So the video that we captured while we were at the event, you can access online from the comfort of your own home or from your cell phone or mobile device.
That's right. So all you need to do is go to that link, pay the money. We will deliver this through your back office. So through the Renatus back office, if you go to the My Purchases tab, we will add it there. So you're going to need to go in first to purchase this right now. You can scan the QR code with your phone or type in that link into any internet browser, renatus.me/E3 order. Now, this is not the entirety of the E3 Summit. This is a selection of the videos. I think there's right around, I'm gonna have to get back to you, but it's right around 15 hours of content.
Okay, 15 hours. 15 hours of content. And drum roll, please. Tell them the price.
$97.
$97. $97. That's it, man. I hope that you enjoy every minute of it as much as we did, and I can't wait to watch those and rewatch those.
Yeah,
there were some powerful talks that were given.
Absolutely, it was so interesting. So many people were like, "Wow, that was so impactful. I could not write quick enough. How do I get access to the video?" And now we're providing access to that video for everybody who wants. And it's funny because I know so many of the people that are there are going to be just so grateful, and they're going to get in there as soon as they can. But if you weren't there, this is your opportunity. While you're not going to get the full effect of what the E3 was, you're not going to have the opportunity to hear from Jen Drummond, for example, or from
John Pennington.
We didn't even talk about John Pennington. Oh
wow.
My gosh.
He was so good.
John Pennington brought a whole new perspective on the world finance situation.
Yes, he did.
He assuaged a lot of my fears that I've had about different organizations in the world, but then he created some new ones.
Well, he did, and he did a great job of helping us better get financially literate.
Yeah.
Because financial literacy is critical if you're ever going to become wealthy. And John, he was one of the co-founders of a $28 billion private equity fund.
Yeah.
And guess how they made their money? Real estate. Yeah. Real estate. Boy, when the Great Recession, this is a lesson. This is a lesson for you. When the Great Recession hit, John and his partner saw an opportunity, because real estate was on sale everywhere. And most people, they were like, ooh, it's not a good time to buy. No, real estate, it's not a good time to buy. I'll never forget telling people that I was the founder of a real estate investment education company during that time.
Yeah.
And they would go, oh my goodness,
I'm so
are you
sorry.
okay? Are you all right? I mean, could we bring you over dinner? I mean, could we help you and your family out? That was the discussion that I had. John and his partners, they went out and they raised a private equity fund, and they started to purchase everything they could get their hands on, including investing in opportunity zones, so that they could maximize tax benefits and other things as well. And they crushed it. $28 billion fund.
Amazing.
He's recently retired, and every once in a while he just likes to scratch an itch and do some speaking and training and hang out with people, and that's exactly what he did for us, and we're very appreciative of that.
It was so phenomenal. Somebody put on the YouTube comments that it's not included with the VIP.
Not included.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
It is not.
No, with the VIP, we included 3 networking lunches that were exclusive to VIP ticket holders. And honestly, we didn't even break even on those tickets.
And the opportunity for them to invite guests so that they could see what the community was all about, so they could encourage other folks to join. So, so that was it. So no, $97 for the video, and be the best money you've spent all day, even if you've been shopping on Amazon.
Oh, buddy.
Yes.
That's quite the
all
promise.
Day. That is.
But yeah, you should really take advantage of being able to watch the recording of the E3. There were so many nuggets. It was so impactful, but we are short on our time. And I know we have a couple of other
things
we want to talk about. Time is just kind of
blown right along. Yes, we are. Hey, listen, I just wanted to encourage individuals, follow us on social media. Get a feel for who we are and what we're all about. Stay in the know as to what's taking place in the wonderful world of real estate investing. Our Instagram, all you got to do is go to that QR code right there. And, our Facebook, go to that QR code on the right side of your screen. But come join us so that we can make sure that we can make a positive impression on your life as well. And then the next thing we got to talk about is live Renatus education in the studio. We've got Mr. Christian George coming in to re-record and refresh the title, escrow and closing class. And boy, when Christian shows up, he shows up prepared. And then Mr. Jason Andrus, you had already talked about the fix and flip course. So those students of ours who own those educational packages are able to come in and view those classes as they are being recorded live and in person.
Yeah, make sure if you're going going to be joining us in studio, get registered on the calendar in the back office now. It's on the Utah calendar. Go ahead and get registered if you're able to join us in studio. For anyone who is unfortunate enough to not be able to join us in studio, you will still be able to watch online.
Yes, you will. Absolutely. Here's another special offer that Mr. Cosimo Intermite put out to everybody, and that is for his Genius in 21 Days program, where he's doing a special training November 5th, and it'll happen from 5 to 7 p.m. That's Mountain Standard Time. You don't want to miss that. The Genius in 21 Days program is just that. He teaches individuals what their learning preference is, how to lean into that learning preference so that they can maximize retention, understanding, and implementation.
Yeah.
It's a great program. Oh, my goodness, Jay. Kind of brings us to the end.
Yes, it does.
It does. There will be more next week as we come back to the Invest Edge. We want to wish you guys an incredible week until then. Remember this, if home is where the heart is, shouldn't your business be there too? Because as a real estate investor, that's exactly where you start. Start it in the home, grow it into the business of your dreams, and impact future generations with this. Well, until next week, good day and God bless everybody.